a.k.a. BlenderHD. You want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Friday, December 27th, and we'll be taking a look at the GPP strategy for the NFL Week 17 slate on DraftKings. So hit the thumbs up button on your way in the door. Give me those thummy thumbs. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. We got basketball going on. We still got some college football bowl games. We got NFL games on Saturday, right? So we got a couple of games tomorrow, but we'll be taking a look at the smaller, kind of smallish 8-game slate on DraftKings for Sunday. And back a long time no see. It's Bobby Gomes. What's up? You come back for we've had some 11, 12 game slates. Now we have an 8-game slate with half the games seem like they sub 40 totals. So this it may not be the most exciting of slates.
It's exciting for me though, because I kind of skipped out on the 11 gamers, the 12 gamers, and now I get an 8 gamer. So
okay, so easy work. You have to come back in, get accustomed.
Yeah, it's easing me in. It's
right.
Nice and here at my guy Blender. Yeah, I'm excited to
next
talk.
Next week will be the hardest. Next week we'll have a bunch of games and half the teams playing like backups and who knows.
And guess what? I'm not going to be here next week. I'll be in Aruba. So I made all the moves.
The hardest week. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what we do? You know what we do on Fridays? We rank the teams stack wise. So we're stacking the quarterback, multiple people from the same game. A, B, C, D, and F. And this is salary adjusted. This is ownership adjusted. So if a team is going to be pretty high owned and we think they're over owned, maybe they get bumped down a little. If we think the team is under owned, maybe we bump them up a bit. And obviously, you can play one-ups from anyone, right? So just because the team's in the F tier doesn't mean you can't play anyone from the team. But let's start with a team with the second. It looks like the second highest team total on the slate. Yeah, some of these games are going to be kind of ugly. A lot of these games, sub 40-point totals. But this one isn't. This is the Jets and the Bills. The Jets are the Bills. The Bills are 9.5-point favorites at home. 28-point implied team total. The Jets 18.5-point implied team total. Obviously, Josh Allen is the favorite right now, or at least close to being the favorite for MVP status. $8,500 at quarterback on DraftKings. I think the Jets defense is ass. I don't think the Jets are very good. The Jets and Aaron Rodgers still seem to want to play, though. I think the Bills could put up points. The issue with the Bills, especially with pretty much everyone healthy, is that Josh Allen could score a lot of points, and who the hell knows else who on the team is going to come with him between Shakir and Kincaid and James Cook and Amari Cooper and Dawson Knox and Curtis Samuel, Matt Collins. I mean, he could throw to a lot of people. And then the Jets have an 18.5 implied team total, and the Bills' defense is pretty good. They're on the road, and I'm not really that interested in the Jets. Where are we putting these two teams? I feel like the Bills, Bobby, it feels like the Bills could put up 35 points, and I know it's an 8-game slate with some low team totals, so maybe raw points count enough. But how much of a score does Josh Allen need to put up in order for him to be in the winning lineup at 8,500? And then do you just play him? Do we count this stack as just a naked Josh Allen? Like, to me, that's the problem with the Bills is that, yeah, they'll put up 35 points and they'll be the highest scoring team on the slate. And DFS lineups, though, not so hot.
Yeah, I kind of like the Bills stack just from a combinatorial ownership. I know you like that word, Blender. Just like you can play Kincaid, you can play Shakir. The majority of these guys are going to be relatively low owned. Allen's going to be low owned. He definitely has like one of the, if not the highest ceiling from the quarterback position. So I would put the Bills in the B tier because I do think raw points will matter. I like guys like Shakir. I like Kincaid. I like James Cook. I do think the Jets can push back a little. 18.5 is their team total, but they have Rodgers on the other side, and he's been playing better than he did in the beginning of the season. So I actually like the Bills. Low ownership on the Bills stack. I'll play some Bills. You're against this, though, I have a feeling.
No. I'm on an 8-game slate. I'm looking, when we have there are going to be some popular players and teams on this slate where you look at it and you go, good luck with that. Have fun. I'm just not going to eat some of this chalk here.
Yeah.
I think this game, man. It is a 46.5-point team total. I think it's the second highest on the slate. Yeah, it's the second highest, third highest on the slate. You told me this game was 35-21.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think B is fine for the Bills, especially with like the ancillary pieces for Allen are going to be super low owned. Allen's going to be low owned, so I'm fine getting to the Bills, putting them in B. I think, yeah, the Jets in C makes sense too.
The thing about the Jets, Bobby, is that their offense is quite condensed. That if the Jets get there, you kind of know where it goes. You kind of know where it goes to. And I think Garrett Wilson's price at 6,100. I don't mind even playing I don't like even Adams. These guys I don't even mind playing as one-offs. Maybe I'm not entirely enamored by playing an Aaron Rodgers stack, but I think there's ceiling in this game. I'm not sure where it goes to, but I just think that compared to a lot of other games on this slate, if you told me this is the highest scoring game on the slate, I think it's possible it is.
The key word you used for me was condensed, because I think that's what we're looking for in DFS, and that's what we should be looking for with our stacks. When you talk about the Jets, we know it's going to Devontae. We know it's going to Garrett Wilson. The running backs are kind of muddled because they're using 3 running backs. So I don't know if I'd be as interested in Breece Hall, but definitely prefer Adams and Garrett Wilson on this slate. Those would be the guys that I'd have an interest in. And I think you'd make a case for Rodgers stacks because the Bills team total is so high. Run it back with, say, a James Cook. I don't hate Rodgers either. So, yeah, C tier makes a good bit of sense for the Jets.
Okay, next game on the slate, it's a 39.5-point total. It's the Titans at the Jaguars. The Titans 19.25 implied team total. Jaguars 20.25 implied team total. And I know he's good. I know he got there last week, especially on a 60-yard touchdown. I know this. I know it's probable I may play him in cash games. You got Brian Thomas Jr. there. But Titans and Jaguars, we got Mac Jones may be like one of the top 3 owned quarterbacks on this slate at 5,200. Calvin Ridley at 5,500. One of probably top 6, top 7 owned wide receivers. Mason Rudolph will even be somewhat owned. People may want to play like cheap tight ends like Chig or Strange again. I find this is like it's a question. Here's the question you need to have. Which are going to be worse, the offenses or the defenses? Because you have 2 bad defenses and also 2 bad offenses. And if you think that the defenses are so bad that Mac Jones and Mason Rudolph could enter into a shootout, then this seems like a good game to stack at these prices. The problem is that, I'm not a big fan of eating ownership on a 39.5-point team on a game total. I think this game is massively overowned. Can I play these guys as well? It's like almost, I don't even want to play Brian Thomas Jr. as a one-off. Because if he gets there, then Mac Jones gets there. And I'm going to lose in GPPs to stacks and stuff. I get why people would want to go here. Price-wise, this is appealing. And Brian Thomas Jr. at 6,800 is probably $500 or $600 underpriced. And Ridley obviously has a ceiling. I could easily see this game being 17-14 with a Parker Washington touchdown and Luke Farrell scoring on some tight end play for 7 yards. Like it's not like these offenses are really that condensed as you think. I don't think it's bad, but I just on ownership alone, I can't put the Jaguars higher than C.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Jags. The Jags are going to be super condensed in terms of like Mac Jones, Brian Thomas, Strange, etc. I would rather play a high owned quarterback with less owned wide receivers. Brian Thomas is going to be very chalky. So for me, like just avoiding the Jags makes a good bit of sense. If Mac Jones was chalky and say Brian Thomas was showing at low ownership, then maybe I'd have more interest. I can't really get to the Jaguars, and yeah, they are showing up in a ton of stuff, so people are going to play them, and I will not be. So I'm with you. I don't like the Jaguars, and same with I don't want to put my eggs in Mason Rudolph's basket on the other side. So not really.
Yeah, but from an ownership perspective, I'd almost rather play Mason Rudolph lineups with Brian Thomas as the run back than Mac Jones lineups with Calvin Ridley as the run back. But I still think overall these combinations are going to be overrepresented. Let me be clear, for a 39.5-point game total.
So I still think Chig's going to be owned, correct? Like Chig and Rudolph.
He'll be owned-ish. He'll be owned. I mean, it's not like he won't be chalky, but he won't be 2% owned or anything.
Yeah. I think that's probably the better way to play it. Now that I think about it, just play Mason. That's actually our second optimal in Sims currently is Mason Rudolph, Calvin Ridley with a Brian Thomas run back in the RotoGrinders Sim. So yeah, I think that is the way to play it. I don't love playing Mac Jones. He's hitting our third optimal with Brian Thomas and Chig. I think both of these teams could be in C. Probably on the lower end of C. I'd prefer the Jets over both of them. I don't know what your feeling is there, but
no, I prefer the Jets over both of them also.
Yeah, you could put the Titans in. Should we flip the Jaguars and the Titans? Put the Titans in C and
no, I think the Jaguars just project. But I mean, I think the reason why we're bumping these down is because of ownership. So I mean, just on raw projection, it would be like B and C. So I'm just bumping them down to C and D.
All right, that works. You're the boss.
Next game, we got the Las Vegas Raiders against the New Orleans Saints. This is a 38 total. 38 total. The Raiders are a road favorite, 19.5-point implied team total. Saints, 18.5-point implied team total. It's Aiden O'Connell versus Spencer Rattler. We're not necessarily sure about the status of Chris Olave yet. We have him in the projections, but we have him with 0% ownership, so we're not exactly sure. I don't think it necessarily matters all that much. I'm not sure why Olave even needs to play, and if he does, I'm not sure if he just goes out and plays 99% of the snaps or anything. And remember, he's being thrown the ball by Spencer Rattler, who we saw this last game really shouldn't be throwing the ball. I'm not a big. I mean, I prefer the Raiders side, but I mean, this is a 38-point total. As always, Jacoby Myers 6K. He's going to be like 15 to 20% owned because that's what he is at that price. Because for his mean outcome, he typically projects for about 14, 15 points anyway. Brock Bowers, 6,700. If you pay up at tight end, I guess he has good mean value. It's a 38-point total. I could see 17 punts in this game. I could see this game being, 12-6. This is, I think, a better version of the Jaguars Titans game, only because it'll be less owned, but it won't be low owned. That's the problem. It's like I think Aiden O'Connell, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers lineups will exist. I think people will take a shot on an Olave, on a Juwan Johnson, on maybe someone on the Saints. I think the Saints side, I almost feel like I'd rather play Spencer Rattler stacks than Aiden O'Connell stacks, but I don't want to play any of this. I feel as if like I prefer the Raiders, but I'm not sure that I'd rather play them over the Titans.
My issue with the Raiders is they're actively trying to lose. So, like, there's no way I'm stacking them. You can put the Raiders in D, and you can put the Saints in F.
You want to put the Raiders in B?
No, D.
Oh, D. Okay, I'm with you with that. Okay. Now we're good. Yeah, the Saints in F, the Raiders in D. But I think they're
actively trying to lose games, and they were chalk last week. Like, people actually played them. I just don't think that you need to play the Raiders as a stack. You can make a case for pieces, but
okay. Next game, the chalk game on the slate. I think the game with the highest team total. It's the Panthers at the Bucks. The Buccaneers are an 8-point home favorite. 28.25 implied team total. Panthers 20.25 implied team total. And everyone in this game will be double-digit owned. Like everyone in this game. Like you'll have on the Panthers side, you'll have Chuba Hubbard, probably the highest owned running back on the slate at 7K. Probably Bucky Irving, one of the top 5 owned, if not top 3 owned running backs at 6,700. You have the pass catchers, Thielen, Jalen Coker being owned. Jalen McMillan at 4,600 will probably be 10 to 12% owned. Mike Evans will be 20+% owned. Bryce Young is in the cash consideration at quarterback at 5,600. Baker Mayfield will be a top 5 owned quarterback on this slate. Like, everyone is owned in this game. But I almost think it's warranted because, I mean, my attitude on this, typically when there's a lot of ownership in one game, on multiple, where it's not like, we're not talking about the Tennessee Jacksonville game where the ownership is like very clear of it's this guy plus 2 guys and the run back, like 3 plus 1. It's like that's the way it's packaged together. Here you have a lot more options. Like, you could double stack Bryce Young, you could double stack Baker Mayfield, you could run it back with 1 or 2 people. In these situations, I feel as if I'd rather overstack or play no one, right? Maybe a running back. Maybe you could get away with like 1 running back, or you play 5 guys from the team. Because you're going to see a lot of combinations where it's like Bryce Young stack with Bucky Irving run back, or Bryce Young stack Mike Evans run back, or Baker Mayfield stack Chuba Hubbard run back, Baker Mayfield stack Adam Thielen run back. And you'll see a lot of combos of 3s and 4s, but maybe not 5s or even 6s. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to playing like Baker Mayfield plus Mike Evans plus Bucky Irving plus Jalen McMillan plus Chuba Hubbard plus Adam Thielen. Like, just full on. It's an 8-game slate, so the opportunity cost is a little bit lower than on a 12-game slate. Like, I'm all for that. But Bobby, I don't know about you, but price-wise and projection-wise, this is kind of the clear. The game is chalk for a reason. Like, this is kind of the clear spot when the game total is like a touchdown higher than most of the other games on the slate.
Yeah. So I like the idea of overstacking, especially the Baker side. I think Bryce Young could get squeezed a little bit, but I still think his receivers will be chalky. So I'll put Carolina in B, and the Tampa Bay Bucks in A.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. So the Bucks are here, the Panthers are here. Also, now just to mention, because you'll hear it mentioned 8 million times narrative-wise, Mike Evans is trying to get the 1,000 yards receiving on the year. I think he needs 87 yards average the next 2 games. The Buccaneers actually need to win, right? They're playing to win. The Panthers aren't, but
the Panthers have been playing well, though, for what it's worth.
Right.
Like, Bryce Young's been fantastic. He's keeping them in game. So this game I would imagine it's going to be pretty tight coming down the wire in the 4th. So, yeah, this game is a very good game to stack and overstack for that reason.
Right, but I like Mike Evans, as a what I'm not a big fan of playing these receivers as one-offs. Maybe Jalen McMillan because of his price, At 4,600, you may if he gets 20, you may need him. But the running backs as one-offs are perfectly. Running backs, you get
So
a
you
running
don't
back.
like Evans as a one-off? I think Evans is perfectly fine as a one-off, depending on the contest size.
On smaller field, yes. On larger field, no.
Smaller field, I think he's perfectly fine. Larger field, I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, larger field, 7,500. If Evans gets there with 35 points, typically Baker Mayfield's coming along, and you're competing against too many stacked lineups. That's why my attitude is that if I'm playing this game, and I primarily play larger, at least mid-larger, 5,000 plus entries, that I will likely, if I play 6 or 7 GPP lineups on Saturday, I will play 2 lineups that just overstack this game. And then I'll play 3 lineups that have no one from this game, and then 1 lineup with just Hubbard and 1 lineup with just Bucky Irving. Like that, some type of spread like that, but nothing, kind of nothing in the middle. I'm going to play 6 guys or 1 running back or no one from this game. The problem is that when you play no one from this game, you start looking around and you go, what the hell am I playing? Right? We've already shit on a bunch of these games, and we still have other games to shit on to come, right?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I feel like we're in a lot of agreement, but it's an 8-game slate, so
right.
I think
you're back, and we're agreeing on stuff. But I'm not used to that. I'm used to saying I'm in love with this team, and you're like, I won't play them with even with your money. I wouldn't play them.
Well, with your money, I might play it.
Okay. Yeah. Next game on the slate, we got the Cowboys at the Eagles. This is a 38.5 point game total. The Eagles are about a touchdown favorite at home, 22.75 implied team total, a 15.75 implied team total for the Cowboys. Why is the Eagles team total so low? Kenny Pickett's at quarterback, not Jalen Hurts. We got Cooper Rush at quarterback. No CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is done for the season. He's sick of it all, and there's no reason for him to play.
He has to film more rap videos after games.
Barkley's going to be owned, but I don't think at 8,600, but not super chalk. I think he'll end up being 20% owned. Then we got Cowboys are actually getting some ownership just due to price. With no CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson at 3,700 is going to be a bit chalky at tight end because he's probably underpriced for. He may end up being the number 1 target on the team now. Jalen Tolbert, and he got Turpin at 37. He got some cheap receivers. You got Rico Dowdle at 6,000. I'm not sure how much the Cowboys are going to have the ball this game, but it's kind of hard to gauge this game because with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, I almost feel like Saquon Barkley is a better play without Hurts because you don't have to necessarily worry about the tush pushes. And are the Eagles necessarily going to just hand over the reins and let Kenny Pickett throw the ball 40 times? I think more people are going to be paying a little bit down at running back in that range. This is the first week. It comes to week 17 where I'm going, I think I might play Saquon Barkley because I pretty much never play him. Him and Henry are 2 guys I just they're always over.
I never play Henry. I've been playing Saquon. I never play Henry. I just think it's usually over-owned, and I usually get punished for it.
But if Barkley's only going to be 20%, I'm not saying Barkley.
I'm going to be too extra fuel on
unowned, but I think the ownership on Barkley is going to be, there's a ceiling there because there are other running backs, and it's hard to fit in lineups with an $8,600 running back. But I feel like the running backs are the plays in this game. I'm not necessarily interested in stacking. If I was going to, do I stack? Cooper Rush +2 is just so cheap. Cooper Rush +2 and Saquon Barkley is the run back. I look at this and I go, I really don't mind that. I don't mind a Cooper Rush, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson lineup with Saquon as the run back because Rush is 54, Tolbert's 41, Jake Ferguson's 37. This is dirt cheap. I know the Cowboys only have a 15.75 implied team total, but, Saquon Barkley could have 200 yards of offense this game, and Cooper Rush could drop back 40 times.
I'm fine with Cooper Rush. I don't love it. I get it differentiates Saquon, which I'm going to be super over on. I would love to make Kenny Pickett somehow work, but there's just no way to kind of do it. Just because if Barkley's really chasing that record, I think they're perfectly fine with just handing it off and letting him throw. But no one's playing Kenny Pickett, and no one will be playing those wide receivers. So if you're thinking about total ownership for a stack, if you can convince yourself that it's worth playing, might not be the worst play. I don't think it's worth playing. I would rather play the Cooper Rush, Ferguson, Tolbert with the Saquon run back. And Saquon is, I just think, a phenomenal play overall.
I also think as one-offs, if you want to take a shot on AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, I think those are great one-offs because they're going to be single-digit owned. Because I mean, not really no one's stacking the Eagles. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I like AJ Brown at 7,800 compared to Mike Evans at 7,500 is going to be just like dramatically different. But I am with you. If I'm going to pay up in this game, like I don't mind, like Devontae Smith at 5,800 as a one-off, at least doesn't hit like price points where I'd rather play other people. But I am with you. Like this is the first week out of I think 7. I don't think there's a single week where I've really wanted to play Barkley or played him. Maybe I played him once this year. I think the ownership on him may be lower than it should be in this spot. That if it wasn't for certain other running back plays and lineup construction, Barkley would be 35 to 40% in this spot at 8,600. If there was value, if there was screaming value on the slate, Barkley would be super chalk, but there isn't, so it's hard to play him. It's quite possible Barkley's the guy that you'll need. Barkley puts up 42 fantasy points, and it's like, well, you're just going to need him in your lineup.
I think Barkley's my favorite play on the slate. I wish it wasn't the case because I'd love to play this Eagle stack, but with Barkley there, it just makes it almost impossible to play it.
Next game on the slate, we got the Colts at the Giants. This is a 40-point game total. The Colts are about a touchdown road favorite. 23.75 implied team total. Giants with a 16.25 implied team total. Richardson has not practiced this week yet. We'll see. They expect him to play. 5,900. Assuming he plays, he will be the chalkiest quarterback on the slate by himself. I don't know about a stack-wise, but probably in a lot of people's cash lineups at 5,900 against the putrid Giants team that is looking to be the number 1 draft pick in the league. Malik Neighbors, we're still not sure about, but he's expecting. He says that he expects to play. Jonathan Taylor's here at 7,900. I think he's in the similar spot as Barkley. That Jonathan Taylor can put up 150 yards, scrimmage yards, and 2 touchdowns this game, and it's a leverage off of Richardson. And it's not like he's going to be unowned. I think Taylor comes in at 15 to 20%, very similar to Barkley. But the ceilings here are I think, higher in retrospect. I think Neighbors may end up being maybe a little over-owned if he plays. I kind of like Wan'Dale Robinson at 4,400 is kind of like more of a cash play. And then if you stack up Richardson, you got like Downs, Pittman. You got cheaper guys, but I mean, they have a healthy, 23.75 implied team total is pretty high for this slate. I'm just not a big fan of just eating Richardson chalk, even though the thing is that when you actually stack him, you actually get less combinatorial ownership because people tend to not stack Richardson. So where are we putting the Colts and the Giants?
Colts you can put in C. Giants I have zero interest in as a stack. You can put them in F.
So I have no interest in Drew Lock lineups against the Colts defense.
No. Should I have more interest in Drew Lock? I guess you could play some Drew Lock. You're just playing. Drew Lock's going to be unowned, but Malik Neighbors is going to be significantly owned. I think you'd put. My kids just came in, but can you?
But I mean, I would have Lock plus Neighbors definitely beats out any Spencer Rattler lineup.
Yeah, that's a good point. You throw the Giants in D. Throw the Giants in D. I don't love the Giants. You like Drew Lock? You want to play Drew Lock?
No. No, I always count the D tier. So to me, my qualification between D and F is that D is you're not crazy for doing it in large field, but I'm not. F is you're crazy, right?
Yeah,
Like there's a
okay,
difference.
that's
Like if someone
fine.
told me they wanted to play a Drew Lock plus Neighbors plus Jonathan Taylor lineup, I'd be like, yeah, you're not crazy. Like I'm not playing that lineup, but I mean, I see the paths to winning the Millie Maker with that lineup. Yes. Now Spencer Rattler plus Jawan Johnson, like that. No, you've lost the plot. Right.
I think you made a really good point with the Colts is that Richardson's going to be relatively chalky, but no one likes to play Pittman or Downs, and they're not going to double them. So I think the Colts and C are fine.
Next game on the slate, the Dolphins at the Browns. Dolphins 20. The Dolphins are about a 6.5 point road favorite. Dolphins with a 23-point implied team total. The Browns with a 16.5-point implied team total. Dorian Thompson-Robinson should be the starter for this game for the Browns, even though he's been knocked up in practice. Then we got Tua, and we got Tyreek at 6,900. Devon Achane at 7,700 will be one of the most popular running backs on the slate. Obviously, with his receiving role and his rushing role, against the Browns in this spot with DTR at quarterback, probably good. I actually have interest in the Miami stack because if Achane is going to be chalky, I think just simply playing Tua Tyreek line. I mean, at some point, Tyreek Hill's now under 7K. Like at some point, Tyreek's just. I mean, it's been since week 1 that you needed his score. I don't mind taking a shot on Tua Tyreek lineups in a cupcake matchup against the Browns, where it's quite possible that DTR throws 3 picks and the Dolphins have short fields like every possession. Another issue that we didn't mention in a lot of these games is that these East Coast games may be heavy rain, not necessarily wind, but heavy rain. So these games may be a bit sloppy. I mean, I understand why Achane is chalky. I don't mind playing Achane at 7,700 to its short passing and stuff like that. But I mean, anytime I can play a sub 7K Tyreek at like 10 to 12% ownership and Tua under 6K as like maybe not even the 8th highest owned quarterback, like I don't know. I want to put the Dolphins in the B tier.
I'm fine with the Dolphins in B. Tua is going to be low owned. Achane's going to be chalky, but it's warranted. Tyreek's going to be around 10%. So I'm fine with that. I like Malik Washington and Jonnu too. So the Dolphin stack is perfectly fine. I don't love run backs on the Brown side. That would be an issue. What do we have for weather?
Well, I mean, basically on the East Coast, it's going to be just a lot of heavy rain.
Yeah, I would have liked them in A if it was good weather, but with the weather being what it is, I'd throw them in B.
And where are we putting the Browns? Do you want to play DTR plus Jerry Jeudy type of lineups or David Njoku type of lineups? Because I don't mind. To me, I don't mind like these guys as like if you want to play a Njoku $4,700 one-off, or even like an Elijah Moore $4,300 one-off. Like I don't mind it, but I don't. 16.5 point implied team total. Like I'd rather play Drew Lock lineups than DTR lineups, and I may even put them in a "you're crazy for playing them" category of F.
Yeah, the F makes sense. I think you play some as one-offs. I don't even know if I would do that. Sorry about the chainsaw or whatever is going on in the apartment next to me, but that's what's happening right now. So I don't know. They're doing some work if people can hear that.
Last game on the slate. A game that's inside, has a healthy point total. I mean, we're talking about 47-point game total. We got the Packers at the Vikings. Packers are a 1-point road favorite, 24.5 point implied team total. The Vikings 23.5 point implied team total. And this game is reasonably chalky, and for good reason, because the game total is quite high. Jefferson 8,300. We have it like 18% owned. I don't think Jefferson's ownership will get out of hand at all because of all the other options towards the top. TJ Hawkinson at 4,500, moderately owned. Aaron Jones, he's probably the cheapest running back that you kind of would want to play at 6,200. So he may actually get outside. His ownership may actually go up as people start building lineups and go, who do I play at my running back spots if I want to play like an Evans Neighbors lineup, multiple like high priced wide receivers. Josh Jacobs at 8,100 probably won't be that owned, probably 10% owned or so, because he's getting to the point where, the Vikings run defense is one of the best in the league. And we have Achane and Barkley and other people up top there. Tucker Kraft may get a little bit of ownership at 3,900. He's in that semi-cheap tight end price range. I think that this game is like the moderately owned game that may actually be less owned. The more owned you think Tampa Bay, Carolina is, the less owned this game will be. And I don't like playing Jordan Love because it's hard to figure out what receivers to play with him.
I can tell you a receiver to play with him this week.
Are we playing Jaden Reed at 5,900?
Jaden Reed, yep.
I like Jaden Reed as a one-off. I like Jaden Reed's always a good one-off because if I'm going to get a zero in my lineup, I only want to get they're not going to be owned. And they have the third highest team total. They're all going to be low owned. They're going to be low owned for a reason because no one likes to figure out who to pair him with. But Love, he's going to be chalky, but the receivers won't be. I like Jaden Reed, like Christian Watson, like Tucker Kraft. And then you have chalky run backs on the other side. So I definitely prefer playing the Green Bay side. It's in a dome. For me, I'd put Green Bay in B, in Minnesota in C. I'm Minnesota in C, yeah. I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to put Green Bay in A.
Okay, I'm with you with that too. I didn't know if you'd be in agreement to do that.
Someone mentioned in the chat, Christian Watson may not play, which will help the situation out. I don't mind this. I don't mind playing Jordan Love with just Tucker Kraft. Jordan Love could throw 4 touchdowns this game and 300 yards.
And not be optimal because he hits.
And be optimal at quarterback, have Tucker Kraft be optimal at tight end, and Romeo Doubs has a touchdown, Dontavian Wicks has a touchdown. There are paths for Jordan Love to rush a touchdown, and I think at 6,200, I could absolutely see the Packers put up. I could see this game be 35-31, and Jordan and be in a similar situation as the Bills, where Josh Allen has 34 fantasy points, and there's really no one that comes with him other than like a cheap tight end. I put this in the same spot. And on the other side, like using like Aaron Jones or Justin Jefferson or even Addison or someone as a run back in those spots, I think that combination, if people are playing this game, there won't be that many of those combinations. So someone's going to play the same combination as that and have a Romeo Doubs 8 points in their lineup, or have a TJ Hawkinson 8 points in the lineup. Well, I got a 20-pointer in those spots from some one-off from some other game. So, like, as opposed to the Carolina-Tampa Bay game, where I'm like, I'd rather just, like, play 5 or 6 guys from the whole game. This is the kind of game where at these prices, it's hard to play 5 or 6 guys from the same game. I don't want to play the Darnold, Jefferson, Hawkinson type of lineup. You can. Or like
you're playing into a ton of ownership, you do that.
Right. I feel like one guy from the Vikings gets there, but if the Packers do well, like it's easy for Jordan Love to be optimal. So like I know you put the Packers at B because you're like, oh, I'm not going to be high on the Packers because it's hard to stack them. It's like, no, I agree with you. That's why the ownership is going to be lower than it should be, because it's hard to stack them. But unlike Josh Allen,
I was
Josh
willing
Allen
to put them in A, but I thought you'd scold me for
right.
putting them in A.
No, the thing is that Josh Allen's 8,500, so it's like he needs to score 40 points. Like he needs that. Like Jordan Love scores 30 points, and like he could easily be optimal. Tucker Kraft scores 2 touchdowns with Jordan Love throwing for 4 of them. Like, I don't need any of these receivers. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter to me what the other receivers do. They put up 16 points. It doesn't help me. So I'm fine with that.
What are we doing with Minnesota?
I think Minnesota's a beat. I think based on price, I think less people get to them. And like normally I'd put them in C, but I really don't think they'll be owned enough. I think more people play Evans than Jefferson. I think more people play Barkley than Jefferson. I think more people play Achane than Jefferson. So it's like it's hard to see Jefferson being more than 20% owned on this slate because how do you play a Jefferson Evans lineup? Like how do you do that? I mean, it's hard to do those types of lineups. So Jefferson has the highest ceiling amongst any wide receiver on the slate. So hell, give him to me. You down with that?
Yeah, I'm down with it.
And also, you know, the byproduct of doing that, it makes everything even, right? All of our tiers are all symmetrical, and we don't have
for squirrel.
Right. RIP Squirrel Patrol. We will always make everything symmetrical on the tiers list. So, Bobby, anything else for strategy wise on this slate for GPPs?
I love the pack. I'm like totally sold on the Packers. Jaden Reed. Love stacks. I'm with it.
But get prepared. Jaden Reed either gives you 28 points or literally scores nothing.
Well, if Watson sits, they're blitzing a ton, so that middle of the field is going to be open.
Okay, we'll see about it. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. As always, give me those thumbs. I'm going to be on the Blitz show this week, so if you're a premium member at RotoGrinders, you'll hear that a little bit later. Pretty much, I mean, you kind of get my GPP kind of takes on this show anyway. But if you want the Blitz projections, you could go to rotogrinders.com/the-blitz. If you want to sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, you get all the sports. We got NBA going on. We got PGA, MMA. We got everything. College football bowl games, NHL, obviously. So sign up for Combo Premium. Click on that link in the description. Get $40 off your first month, and at least hit that thumbs up button if you're not gonna pay for premium. And I will be back next week, heading into the new year, because I'm always here on most weekdays, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick'em on RotoGrinders Today.